Good evening, everybody. It's going to be a lot of videos I do, and not going to be very many consecutive ones. But I want to discuss something, get the ball started rolling. Hello again, this is JD. And through our showing, which was strong enough by all you who supported me out there, and it was there, you were part of those 9.5 million discarded voters. Matter of fact, the majority of them. I want to thank you very much. The reason they were discarded, and I'm sorry for not telling you, was because I didn't have a vice president and I did not have electoral delegates. Now I have time to set all that up. But it did show there's a vast number of them for J.D. Creveau, and James D. Creveau. I want to thank each and every one of you. But we got a little bit of time to really see what this is all about, what I'm about. I want you to understand, and I want you to think about what our forefathers did, the ideals, the foundation of this country, and what it is built on. Our government is based on free enterprise. It's based on limiting government, individual freedoms. These are a lot of what the Constitution gives. The Constitution doesn't make our Congress all powerful. It makes our Congress limited. I mean, these principles have been around for 200 years. A short span in history, very short span of history. But yet, it has produced a nation where the people are the most free of any society in history. It has produced a nation where the people are more prosperous than any other nation in the world. It has produced a nation that no likes of which have ever been on the face of this earth. But our Constitution also provides for a secure nation and a prosperous nation. Congress is to ensure the security of the nation, or the common defense, as it says, and the prosperity of the nation, not to hinder the prosperity. I'm not saying that they shouldn't put up guidelines. I'm not saying that they shouldn't say, well, we should take in consideration these items. And that's what they should be, guidelines for the states to choose to follow or not in their development of their economy. The federal government should allow each state the right and the ability to develop jobs within the state, to develop its economy, to allow it to prosper. It could set guidelines, but that's what they should be, guidelines, not rules. Not you do it this way, this. There's 100 million ways to do the right thing. Give the guidelines and they will be done. But our government needs to understand, we need to be looking for a government that provides a strength in our armed forces so we can secure this nation from its enemies from outside. We have a police force that secures the nation from the enemies within. But there is terrorists out there who are enemies and should be classified as spies the way they function, as well as foreign nations. Does that mean we need to go into foreign nations and tell them how to run their life? It means we should be providing secure, sound defense for our nation. Our government is way too large. I say several times that it has gotten so large that if it gets any larger, every American will have to add a room onto his house so the government can move in. Because that's where it is. It's not knocking at your door. Our government is moving into your house. We need to look at reducing our government. Our government needs to encourage the family values. It doesn't need to tell people you can and cannot. It needs to encourage the values of the family. That is what the government is built on. Believe it or not, some of you get upset about this. I mentioned about the gays. I don't think our government has a right to say who can and cannot get married. I don't think our government has a right to say who should get a marriage license and who doesn't. Our government should just give a license of union. Two people living together under the government, it says that they have legal responsibilities to each other and legal ties to each other. But yet, a marriage, leave that up to their religious leaders. Keep the church and state separate. Don't go into that territory. That is not our government's responsibility. A marriage is made before God. When a minister goes and does a marriage, he does it before God. When a priest does a marriage, he does it before God. When a rabbi, when a Hindu, whenever any of those leaders do it, they do it before God. It is something between God, the religious leader, and the two people. We should be encouraging family values. Let religion encourage religious values. Don't cross over that bridge, which we apparently are trying to do. Some people say that, oh, we should endorse gay marriages. Others say we shouldn't. No, that is the word of God. You let the religious leaders do that. Okay? We need to enhance the security of our borders. We need to make our government realize that the protection of our borders and the homeland security is of utmost importance. Our government needs to. And our government should realize that the protection of our U.S. sovereignty from international organizations. Our sovereignty is trying to be destroyed. It is trying to be destroyed by things like the UN, by the global market, by a lot of other things. Not just enemy nations, but economies that want to eat up our own country. So plain and simple, what is my values? 1, the defense of homeland and the citizens as it preserves the Constitution of the United States. Taxes should be redone. They need to be totally redone. They are totally unfair. They need to be lowered, simpled, and probably even totally changed. These are the basis of what our government should be doing. In other words, our government should become a servant to its people and not the enslaver of its people. Remember, the American citizen, the government is the servant to the American citizen. The citizen is not the servant of our government. We need to remember these things. We need to understand these things. And we need to base our government on these things, allowing the states to develop their economies, to put jobs back in, allowing people to work and keep their homes, allowing the taxes to be completely changed so that it is fairly distributed. Millions of people in this country do not pay any taxes whatsoever. That should be changed. But don't do it through the income tax system. There's other ways. Minimum wage, no matter who or what, should never be taxed. If our government says minimum wage is what you minimum need to live by, then that's what you should get. Not you get maybe a half to 2/3 and the government gets the rest. No, it can't be that way. They should say minimum wage is totally non-touchable. There's a lot our government should do. But the only way they're going to hear you is for us to go and put the people in our government who listens to us. Thank you. This is JD. Have a nice day.